The Daffodil Who Couldn't Dance by Jeffsammon, with illustrations by Sammon Gertz. The Daffodil Who Couldn't Dance. Early in March, with the end of the snow, something bright starts to bloom in one special meadow. With bulbs planted in fall, they survive through it all. Even in ice and sleet, steady growth did not stall. Birds would sing, for the spring, better times arrived. In this special meadow, plants of all sorts thrived. And at this time of year, Gardener Mary would come. She would pick the best plants with her special green thumb. It was every flower's dream to be picked by Miss Mary, for life in her garden was anything but scary. She would tend to her plants with love, water, and more, so to get in her garden was the ultimate score. So whenever Mary showed up, everyone was excited, dreaming of the life they could have if sighted. But it seemed every time Mary came down the hill, she'd pick almost all plants but leave the daffodil. She'd pick the sunflowers standing high up above, and a bouquet of roses for people she loved. But just out of her sight, what she never did see was the daffodil family hiding just by a tree. And so, day after day, just evading her glance, the daffodils tried what they knew best. They danced. "We must dance," said one daffodil. "For that we were made. With wind under our petals, we'll bounce in the shade. We'll get her attention with our special dance show. If we all move the same, that we're here, she will know." And so, the wind came, hitting them from behind. As the breeze hit their petals, they danced so divine. But one daffodil, named Daniel, felt so much out of place. As the wind would hit him, it went right through his face. For his petals had holes, they could not catch the breeze. If he tried catching wind, it might sound like a sneeze. So unable to dance, this lone bud hid below. He would hide who he was, so his friends wouldn't know. When the wind came their way, he would duck and he'd lay. To avoid the breeze became his mission each day. While others stood tall, he'd curl into a ball. He tucked in his petals, avoiding it all. It was Daniel's greatest fear that he wouldn't fit in. What would all the rest think of the holes in his skin? If they knew he couldn't dance, how embarrassing would that be? Best to sit in the shadows so that no one would see. But as the days turned to weeks, Daniel's spirit would wane. He'd pretend to be fine, but inside there was pain. For hiding yourself is not only exhausting, there's a toll on your soul that it really starts costing. And so, after weeks of hiding, looking up at the sky, one day Daniel decided to give dancing one more try. As the wind came his way, there was fear in his heart. He knew if he could sway, now was his chance to start. And so scared yet determined, he curled out of a ball. High up into the wind, Daniel stood oh so tall. But what happened next seemed to be worse dreams come true. Standing higher than ever, the wind still came right through. Dance he did not. Daniel seemed to have failed. He just twisted in the wind with his secret unveiled. And so, Daniel just stood there, awaiting the laughter, but he never expected what would happen after. As he stood there ashamed, really dreading a tease, a new kind of sound came along through the breeze. All eyes turned Daniel's way to hear this beautiful new thing. It seemed while Daniel couldn't dance, what he could do was sing. For you see, Daniel took a risk with his little endeavor. By trying to dance, he stood up higher than ever. And because of this pride, because he put himself out there, the holes in his petals were able to catch fresh air. And just like a whistle, the wind came right through, producing a music so beautiful and new. Daniel couldn't believe it. His voice was so loud. Its beauty indisputable, he stood oh so proud. He directed the wind into a hot music track, while the rest of the daffodils danced in the back. So while others kept dancing, Daniel kept with his song. He finally felt what he yearned for so long. And his beautiful voice, through the wind it did carry. It made its way over to Gardener Mary. For the first time all year, Gardener Mary looked down, finally seeing the Daffodil family's small town. And what she finally saw was such a magical sight. All the singing and dancing together just right. She suddenly knew what her garden was needing. That spark of excitement these flowers were seeding. Mary swooped down and picked everyone in their town, gently putting them in a pouch in her gown. She took them home and treated them nice, as she planted them in her garden paradise. With plenty of sun and a daily light shower, Daniel became one very happy little flower. This perfect place to live for him and his crowd was found because Daniel finally learned to live proud. He finally learned to embrace who he was, and it made him a star at the center of buzz. So, remember Daniel's lesson. Don't you ever forget. Always love who you are, and you'll never regret. The end.